Ooh, it's getting close. It is getting close, man. And I'm going to tell you why the Jaguars are going to need more than Trevor Lawrence in order to achieve their goals. I'll do it in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Locked On Jaguars. I am the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, Tony Wiggins. And on Locked On Jaguars, it is your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. A quick reminder that on our YouTube page, you can subscribe for free. Make sure when you do, you hit that like button and hit the bell so that you receive notifications anytime and every time we drop a new episode. And if you listen to audio podcasts, wherever that might be, make sure you tap in every single day to ensure that you don't miss an episode when we drop, which is every day because it's your team every single day. I got to give a shout out and let you know that this episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs, which are my favorite shorts. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL and enter the promo code LockedOnNFL for a water bottle with any order. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We absolutely promise you that. Also, shout out to the everydayers that listen to the show every day. And we call you that because you listen to the show every day. And if you want to be an everydayer too, just listen to the show every day. Hit me up in the comment section as well as on social media. All right, so it's close, man. We are almost there. We're almost there to the beginning of a new season. And not only is there a new season, but there's a new promise. There's a prince of promise, right? His name is Trevor Lawrence. But there's also a new promise of hope that this team is going to achieve heights, permanent heights, that they have not achieved in the past. And when I say permanent, I mean at least for the next decade. I'm not talking about 40, 50 years because nothing is infinite. But we know exactly what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, because the Jaguars have not been able to sustain any momentum since the inception of this franchise almost 30 years ago. 2 years here or a year there. No, we are now talking about having a legitimate shot every single year from a competitive standpoint and being a favorite over the long haul. And it's because of Doug Peterson and mainly Trevor Lawrence, the third-year quarterback from Clemson. But it can't fall on Trevor alone. So today we're going to discuss Trevor's big arm and his mindset, which is just as big as his arm talent, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about why the defense will play a big role and how it all has to come together. So much talk when this team got that first pick a few years back of Trevor Lawrence being him. And when I say him, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Timothy is what they call it. It's called it the book of Timothy in the Bible, but we call it the book of Timothy here when we're talking about sports, because it's guys that seem to do supernatural things when they play the game. You always look up every year and you see some team winning a Super Bowl because some guy did something that most NFL people call it beyond the X's and O's. You have to get those guys on your roster first. You have to get multiple guys like that. And then they have to have, what's my favorite term? Demonstrated performance week after week after week. And that demonstrated performance does a couple of things. One, it starts to set into the mind that this is the level that they need to play at every week, right? It gives them their own example and their own template of how to go out and get it done. Two, it sets you up to be the hunted instead of the hunter, where teams know that you have this sort of excellence and they're going to come and they're going to give you their best effort every single week. That allows you to fight them off every single week. And that also builds up your muscles. So it's almost as if we're looking like playing these games every single week. It's like going to the gym every single day. You won't see long-term results until you get short-term results consistently over and over again. So the Jaguars hope that come January, they got muscles and lats and traps and all of those things popping all over the place, and that they're in condition in order to win the Super Bowl. And the shoulders that bear the brunt of all of those expectations and the biggest amount of those expectations is, of course, the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. One, because he's the quarterback, and in the NFL, that's the way it goes. But two, is because he is actually one of the best players in the league, and he's the best Jaguar quarterback I believe I've ever seen and I will ever see, but it can't only be on him. So can it possibly be that he's the biggest factor in whether or not they win, but it all not be on him? Yes. We're not being double-tongued here. I'm dead serious. I don't think you make a run without a guy like that at quarterback. I hate to pick at Minnesota, but all you got to do is look at Kirk Cousins. Statistically, wonderful. There ain't one person that ever thinks that they're going to get past the division and actually play in the NFC Championship game with him as the quarterback. And they may have. Did they do it a few years back? They got pretty close. I think they may have played Philadelphia or something. But the bottom line is you don't feel like you can win with him. You feel like there's a ceiling winning with him. And there's some other quarterbacks that are dynamic physically, but I still feel like there's a ceiling, and one of them is Justin Herbert. He's every time somebody talks about, and Shady McCoy did this, but every time someone talks about Trevor Lawrence, somebody mentions Justin Herbert. As like Justin Herbert is the little hurdle that he has to get past. Well, Justin Herbert has never won anything. In fact, Justin Herbert had a 27-0 lead to Trevor Lawrence last year, and he lost it. So I think from a team perspective, Justin Herbert has further to go than Trevor Lawrence. But I digress on that because this ain't about him. But what this is about having a quarterback with a big arm and with a big mind. And I think sometimes when we talk about Trevor, that gets lost, that Trevor Lawrence has a talented mind as well as having a talented physical skill set. And that mind and the ability to ingratiate himself with his teammates and draw his teammates in with him and make all of them believe in him is a big deal. Considering that in the two biggest games of the season last year, in those 8 quarters, he only played well for 2 of them, and it was the last 2. That was the Titans game at the end of the season to see who wins the division, as well as the game against the Chargers, where he was awful in the first half and great in the second half. But those 2 games alone will let you know exactly what I'm saying is correct, that you're going to need more than Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback. So as we get closer and we get more and more hype because we're getting closer to the regular season started, which as of today, we're 5 days away. In fact, as of this day, at the time that I'm recording this, we'll be ready for kickoff in Indianapolis. The thing that has to happen is, while he carries the most responsibility and eventually will be the reason why or why not they actually advance to where I hope that they get to, you can't do one without the other. He's going to need some help. Sometimes he's actually going to need to be carried because he won't be able to do it by himself, or he's just having an off day. This is not about winning every single game. This is about playing a certain way most of the time that's going to allow you to win most of your games. But then when it gets to a certain point, it is going to be all on him after the team sets him up and puts him in that position. So those are some of the things that we're going to discuss today. In segment 2, we're going to discuss the defense and things that they have to do, small things. It's going to take a micro look at some small things that they have to do that I believe is going to help them help themselves. What do I mean exactly by help themselves? Well, games aren't usually won or lost based on a whole bunch of big things going wrong. They're won or lost based on a whole bunch of little things going wrong. And those are some of the little things that we are going to discuss in segment number 2 here on Locked On Jaguars. It is game week, man. It is game week. And if you want to look your best, you better make sure that you got these bird dog shorts that I actually have on. Man, bird dog shorts are made of stretch khaki material, and they're designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Now, I ain't got the biggest legs in the world, right? But Bird Dogs has actually figured out a way to make a guy, even with my build, look absolutely fabulous because they do the exact same things as Lululemon, but fit way better. Show yourself wearing bird dogs to all of your friends and family on game day, whether you're tailgating or you're doing it at home for the opener. And I'm telling you, you're going to get a lot of people looking at you like you look absolutely great. Go to birddogs.com/locked on to enter the promo code locked on NFL, right? Go to birddogs.com/locked on NFL. Enter the promo code locked on NFL at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com locked on NFL for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you, people are going to give you compliment after compliment because they're the best shorts on the market. All right, running along here, segment 2, Locked On Jaguars. It is game week. Can y'all believe that? No more preseason, no more cutdowns, no more 53-man rosters, no more chat about the 8th wide receiver or who's going to be on the practice squad. This squad is ready to roll. Right now, they're a little bit banged up front on the defensive line with some of their bigger guys, but they have enough on the field, and they're going to have enough on the field to go out and get the job done, especially this week. I think they're going to miss Devon Hamilton a little bit, but they're not playing against Jonathan Taylor. He's out for the Colts. The thing that they have to watch out for, some similar things that they had to watch out for last year. One, they have to stop the run early. And by the run, I don't just mean the running backs. I mean they have to stop the run, which means the quarterback and young Anthony Richardson, a guy that definitely has a getaway car too. They cannot allow him to extend plays and then fall asleep and give up big plays over the middle. I fully expect the Colts to try to do some of the things that they did last year to see if those things have been corrected. And what that means is you're probably going to see a lot of receivers and backs and tight ends running across the formation. Because I know for a fact, if it were me, I would do the things that allowed me to get a victory against the same coordinator, most of the same players, and I'll see if they fixed it. Even though if it's a new coach, I'll still look back at what that guy did, and I'm sure that there's something that they have in their repertoire that they're going to try. The bottom line is the Jaguars have to do they have to be better at defending shallow crosses. They have to be better at knowing who to pick up and who to release when guys run across the formation and run across their face. Too many times it wasn't even guys going vertical. It was the guys going horizontal and being able to run away from the coverage and being able to run away from whoever was guarding them. And sometimes when the corners are in man-to-man and they have their back turned to all of the action, it is very, very difficult for them to then peel off of their guy, know if it's just a scramble route with the quarterback or if there's a running back that's running right behind them and they have no idea. So they struggled with that last year. I don't think they have too much trouble with playing the ball when there's big receivers because the Colts definitely do have some big receivers. And I think they're going to depend on that a lot because Anthony Richardson probably ain't going to be the most accurate guy coming out of college with not a whole bunch of playing experience. That's a big, big jump. We've seen guys struggle. Trey Lance, even though he didn't even play in the SEC, but we've seen guys that haven't played a lot of football get to the highest level and be asked to do a lot of things. And I think Anthony Richardson is a little bit of trouble, at least early in his career, especially playing against a team like Jacksonville that has guys on the back end that can make plays on the ball and can run. So the one thing the Jags do very well is they don't allow a lot of, I don't believe, at least I didn't look at it statistically, but I'm just going off the cuff here about what I believe is my memory. They don't allow quarterbacks to do a lot of scrambling. The one thing that they have is they have big, rangy guys that can really, really run, and they have guys who tackle real well up front. So I'm not so much as worried about scrambling when it comes to Anthony Richardson and the Jacksonville Jaguars. What I am worried about is extending plays, broken plays, and then allowing guys to catch the ball and do a lot of catch and run. I would be a little bit more worried about that if it was their starting running back, if he wasn't on the list that's going to keep him out, Jonathan Taylor. Lord knows what's going on with it. I want to say he's hurt, but then I kind of don't think that that's what it is, but that's their business. But I do believe that the thing that they have to do is they have to stop the run with whoever's at running back, and don't take for granted that just because Jonathan Taylor isn't there that it's going to be easy, because it's never, ever, ever easy. in the NFL, right? And they have to make sure that they guard people coming across their face, because those are the areas where you get second and short, or you convert a lot of third downs. And eventually, if those things start to add up, what that does is it fatigues the defense. Even before they get tired, they'll probably get mentally tired, and they'll need to feel a sense of desperation to get you off the field. If I'm thinking the right way, the Colts are going to want to keep the ball away from Trevor Lawrence and crew. So how do you do that? Short passes, first downs, focus on first downs before you focus on touchdowns. So the Jags will have to figure out a way to get them in some long down and distance situations so that they force the Colts to force Anthony Richardson to throw the ball. Once you get him to the point where you can throw the ball, where he's throwing the ball more than they would probably like to, that is when, and it's only a matter of time, one, you either have to score early and put pressure on him, or if you don't get the ball early and you're kind of chugging along and it's a field goal game for a minute, they got to get to the point where they force Richardson to throw it more than they want him to. And then once you do that, make him throw it where he doesn't want to throw it. So force them to throw it more than they want to. But once you do that, take advantage of his inexperience and use your scouting profile and find the one or two throws. You ain't going to find throws that he can't make, but you want to be able to find, because he has a beautiful, beautiful arm, but you want to find the ones that he's hesitant to make because he can't do it yet consistently. And I think that's where you can start getting him in a little bit of trouble. Throw it all together on offense, and now you get up, you get a young quarterback behind, and he starts to second guess himself. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because that's exactly where we're going with this. First, I want to tell you to make sure you make your next watch Locked On NFL as a podcast, the Locked On NFL podcast. It's everywhere you get your normal podcast. Everywhere you listen to this podcast, you can find it. You can also subscribe for free on YouTube. An around the league look at everything going on. You can check me out on Wednesdays with my partner in crime, James Rapine from Locked On Bengals. I'm telling you, man, we talk about it all. And every now and then, like this Wednesday, we'll talk about the Jaguars a little bit, and I'll let you know exactly what I said. I can't give it away. There are going to be some things that I'll be able to give you exclusively very, very soon, and that is because we are now on Subtext. The Jaguars have joined up with Subtext to allow you to have more access to me per game. I'm going to include the URL or the link down below, whether you're listening on audio or whether you're watching on YouTube. But it's https://joinsubtext.com and then /LockedOnJaguars. Now, there's a 2-week period where it's for free, a trial period. And then after that, if you enjoy the content, it's $4.99 per month. But here's what you're going to get. You're going to get things that are exclusive to you. That's where I'm going to live tweet the games. That's where I'm going to give you the players to watch. And it's from Subtext and the interaction. I'm going to create content and create shows, the ones you hear here on Locked On Jaguars. It's going to give me an idea of exactly what you're thinking during the game, and I'll be able to refer back to it after the game and let everybody know what's happening. So direct access to me, one-on-one text back at you. That's on Subtext /Locked On Jaguars. All right, segment 3, we're going to tie this all together and going to give you an idea of exactly what we should expect from the Jacksonville Jaguars, not only this week, but this year. We'll do it in segment 3 here on Locked On Jaguars. But you better get ready for the NFL season, because FanDuel is sitting there waiting on you with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Did you hear what I just said? All customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I hope you heard what I just said again. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. All right. And all of my official partners here on Locked On Jaguars are joining me today. I know you're there. I know you. I can't see you right now because I'm not recording it live, but I know you'll be there because you always are. Will the Jaguars be where you want them to be at the end of the season? Well, that's a $1 million question. I think they can. I absolutely think they can. And I'm not saying too much is too much to put on Trevor Lawrence, but what I am telling you is I highly advise that the defense measure up, because the one thing that all defenses do, no matter how dynamic these offenses are, is that they are really, really good at situational football, especially that's what it takes in the playoffs where every single thing matters. They know who they are on both sides of the ball, and they are opportunistic, especially defensively. On offense, whatever you get is usually something that you grind out, but sometimes on defense, you actually get really, really opportunistic because you get rewarded for really, really good play and being Johnny on the spot. And I think that's what has to happen this year with this defense. It can't just be all on Trevor. It can't be all on everything that we know about his arm talent and his mind talent and his skill set. A lot of it has to fall on more than just that. It has to fall on things like turnovers, something the Jaguars have worked on last year and something that they appear to do very well in the preseason. It also means stopping the run. It also means getting off the field on third down. It also means getting the ball back to your offense and allowing them to wear the other defense down. So they don't know what's coming and how it's going to come. Like I said, it's about like playing like a computer program. Guys that I believe have to step up. I think Trayvon Walker has to step up. I think these Jeremiah Ledbetter and Adam Gostis and all the guys are going to help with the early absence of Devon Hamilton. Foley Fatukasi has to play really, really well. Roy Robinson Harris. It's a total effort. It's about everybody playing together. When they blitz, they got to get home, and they have to force the quarterback off of his square. And they can't give up screen passes that go for 30 yards on 3rd and 6. You just can't do it. You got to be able to tackle well. Wherever you touch a guy on defense, that's where a play should stop. If you get a chance to get picks, as good as Andre Cisco was last year, his season would have been considered great had he got those 3 picks that he needed, the ones that he dropped. And he played well. Rayshon Jenkins has to continue to be a menace, because if you watch him play, and I know there's Jaguar fans that are constantly trying to trade him or get rid of him or move on from him, he is a menace. That's all I can call. I can tell you is I watched him last year in two of the biggest games against the Titans and against the Cowboys. They wouldn't have won either one of those games without him. So I need him to continue being a menace, the one that everybody seems to want to cut every single year because they're overthinking it. I think Rayshon Jenkins probably gets a contract extension, believe it or not, because when it all comes down to it, I think he's played a lot better than fans give him credit for. I think Devin Lloyd has to show up and show out. Give us a reason to be happy and be optimistic beyond what we've seen in the preseason. I think him having an entire preseason of health is going to benefit and help the Jaguars mightily. You see, all of these things have to come together. When you watch the really, really good teams and you watch the teams that are successful, this is what has to happen. All of these things ain't got to happen for the Jaguars to win the division, because they didn't happen last year and they won the division. A little bit of a tougher schedule. They're older, so naturally you think they'll get better. They kept most of the team together, so now you believe that there's going to be an easier way to get to the continuity and the cohesion that you want. Their rookie right tackle has picked up right where Jawan Taylor left off, and might even give you an idea that he could even be better than Jawan Taylor down the road, because I don't think Jawan Taylor is going to. Yep, y'all heard me say it. Because Anton Harrison is so good, I don't think they're going to miss Jawan Taylor. And I know a whole bunch of y'all going to try to kill me for that because I talk so much about Jawan. That doesn't mean Jawan Taylor isn't any good. It means the Jaguars did a good job of filling in with his spot. It also could mean that Anton Harrison, who we did not know was going to be able to fall to the Jaguars, I think he has Pro Bowl potential. I really, really do. So kudos to them for doing that. And so for all y'all that's about to get on me and say, Wig, you're switching up. No, I'm not. I never said who they got to replace Jawan Taylor wasn't going to be just as good potentially or even better than Jawan Taylor. I just said they could have kept Jawan Taylor and got another guy at another position or another guy on the offensive line who would have added to Jawan Taylor. And then we could have seen some elevation. But I think we're going to get it anyway because I think that they've been able to do some things in other places. Everybody who thinks they need another edge, okay, y'all, if they'd have kept Jawan Taylor, they would have been able to get another edge. How about that? Is that better? All right. But they didn't, so here we are. And I just because they did something I didn't think they were going to do doesn't mean that I don't think that what they did is going to work, because I do think that what they did is going to work. I do. I think it's going to be a big year. How big? I'm going to end up telling y'all Friday. How big? Thursday, we're going to do a crossover with Hicks and the boys up with Locked On Colts. Tomorrow, we're going to take another look, but we're going to look at offensive things that has to happen and some of the things that have to occur before this team can get to where we all think they're going to go. And I'm going to tell you Friday where I think they're going to go. Until then, you guys, make sure I'll drop the subtext information in the comments so that you can take a look at your 2-week trial period and join up for subtext and get one-on-one exclusive stuff with me. And make sure you check out all of our sponsors and support our sponsors, as they are extremely important to Locked On Jaguars. And the fact is, I happen to like them all, and all of the products are great. So I'm not just telling you about stuff that I don't use myself. Make sure you join me here tomorrow and wherever you get your podcast for another edition of Locked On Jaguars, because it's your team every day. And as always, we thank you for making your first listen a special shout out to the everydayers. And I hope that this was not something that you heard before. It's something that you've heard and you'll like to come back and listen again. Ooh, we're close, y'all. We're close. That's what I want y'all to do. Just hit me up on social media and go, ooh, as if your Birdman hand rubbing your hands together, that we are real close to foot meeting leather and the season getting started. Until tomorrow's edition, you guys take care, and I will see you tomorrow for another edition of Locked On Jaguars.